y'all, welcome back to the Faithful Farmer Mama. I love garlic. I have had many times where I have tried to grow garlic and never really could do it. This year is a little bit different, and I want to share that with you today as we harvest the garlic that I planted back around the middle of January. So before we actually get started, if you are new to my channel, please go down below, find the subscribe button, and click the little bell. That will alert you to all of our upcoming videos when I post them. If you're one of our regulars, thanks for being here again. And if you like our video or videos like this, go ahead and give me a thumbs up too. That also will help. So, let me tell you a little bit about garlic. I have never had any luck growing garlic. I have watched my friends for years plant garlic and grow garlic, and I have just was struggling. So this year, I thought it would be a little bit different if I did some research on my own for the area that we live in, which is central Oklahoma, in order to be able to successfully plant garlic. I amended our soil in the fall last year, lots of manure, lots of compost, put that baby to bed, and then in January, our ground was not quite frozen. Even though it was cold outside, we had snow and everything. I decided I would plant in January to pick in early spring or mid to late spring. So that's exactly what I did. Most zones here in the US, you can actually plant garlic twice. You can plant it in the fall to harvest in the early spring, and then again in June, and then you can harvest it in August. I'm planning on harvesting our garlic, it's right here, and replanting probably in about 2 weeks after I add some fertilizer and kind of mix this soil and put our garlic in a different place in our garden. I am so excited to be able to dig up this garlic. So you wind up growing garlic underground, and eventually it looks kind of ratty. My garlic, although it looks very green, it is very yellow. There are a lot of dead, I've actually pulled off quite a bit so you could see them, a lot of dead pieces of the stalk, and they just don't look like they're thriving at all, which is a good thing. On the video, my garlic looks really green, which is kind of funny to me because it's really not. It's very yellowy and actually almost brown in color. I mean, even here on my leaves, you can see they're just kind of not the greatest color. So I did a little probing this afternoon on this piece right here, and I dug down here to look at my garlic bulb, and guys, I can actually feel it down there, and they are so ready to harvest. Let me see if I can show it to you. See it down there? Right here's my garlic bulb, and it goes way over here. Way over here. So this garlic is definitely ready. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually dig these up, and then I will let them cure or dry out. Yes, I could use it right now. I could bring it in the house and actually put it in my dinner for this evening. We're having chicken and broccoli braid, and it does call for garlic. Or I can lay them out for about 2 weeks until they totally dry, and then I will braid them and I will put them in a cool, dark place to last for the rest of the summer, into fall, and possibly into winter. Planting a fall crop will also help me to continue to have fresh garlic in our kitchen until I get to plant in the spring next year. I cannot even begin to tell you how exciting it is that my garlic is as big as it is. Every time I had tried to grow garlic in the past, they would be smaller than this little guy right here. And this year I have monsters, absolute monsters. I am just so excited and so pleased at how beautiful they have turned out. So now I'm going to actually put these onto a pallet and let them sit under our covered porch where there's a nice cool breeze and it's not a spot where they could get wet, where they can actually cure or dry for about 2 weeks. One thing that I feel is very important when you're gardening is the rotation of your crops. Now, I am going to replant garlic probably in about 2 weeks when these cure. And in this place in this garden, I will not put garlic. So I will replant it in another spot in my garden where I know that they may grow. I do have our tires back here, which are lined with plastic, and then also have manure and compost and the hugelkultur, like sticks and debris and all that, and then good soil on top. Or I could also put them in this bed back here. I do have a little spot over here in the corner that is still open, and we're getting ready to also harvest onions. Here in Oklahoma, it is getting way too warm for onions, and my onions have started to what they call bolting. Bolting is when the crop gets this huge burst of heat and it starts to shoot upward toward the heat in the sun compared to when it would be smaller and lower to the ground in the cooler weather. When onions begin to bolt, what happens to them, they get what they call a flower on top. Garlic can do the same thing, and lettuce will also bolt really easily. My onions have been bolting for a little while now, and I've been very, very fortunate that I've only had a few. And I really feel that although these onions are probably going to be a little bit small, I do feel that they need to come out of the ground so that we can get some other crops in here. There's a red onion trying to poke out the top. The other thing I've learned this growing season with these onions, although I amended the soil, I do not feel that I put enough gypsum in there to loosen up the clay, nor did I put enough topsoil or potting soil. Because it is a raised bed, I do have to amend it a little bit more than, say, a normal garden in the ground. Here in Oklahoma, we have clay, and it is so hard. It just makes it almost impossible for things to grow underground. So that is why they are in our raised bed here, and even the raised bed, the topsoil must not have been soft enough. So we will be harvesting these sometime probably in the next week or so. I will also film that for you to see as well. I know that many of you are waiting on potatoes and for us to harvest potatoes. My sweet friend that I planted these 2 buckets right here for, they are getting huge and flowers are starting to form. There are flowers, and as you know, once the flower dies, your potato will start to die back, and then you will be able to harvest your potatoes. Like these potatoes. You can kind of see these are already starting to turn brown and yellow. Now, this is the set of potatoes that were damaged in the storm, and the wood fell on them from right there. Although they are all starting to do that, they still continue to plant or put flowers, and they are still just growing. So my potatoes are growing underneath the ground there. Guys, I can't wait to dig up these potatoes to show you. So here's my tray that I'm going to actually let our garlic dry out on. It is an actual old chicken coop piece, and we are going to just let these sit here. I don't think this there. Because the grate has holes and air can flow through it, it will dry them evenly, and it will let them do what they need to do in order for me to be able to use them later in the months instead of having to use them all right now. Now, it's really important when you're drying your garlic, you don't want to take the tops off because the energy and all of the nutrients that are still in the leaves are going to go into the bulb themselves, which makes the garlic really good. The other thing is you don't want to cut off the roots. You do want to try to remove as much dirt as you possibly can, but they should stay intact also, so all of that energy and all of those nutrients go back up into the garlic. You want to be very careful not to bruise the garlic. I mean, it's kind of like a tomato. You don't want to squish a tomato when you're picking it. So garlic is kind of the same. You don't want to bang it around. You don't want to knock it off of here so that it hits the ground really hard. You want it to be able to cure and have time to rest and time to let all of the nutrients go where they need to go so that you can have delicious, dried, amazing garlic later in the year. Well, that's it for today, y'all. Thank you so much for being part of this journey with me. I have always wanted to grow my own garlic and just had no clue that it was even possible. Like I said earlier, I have tried so many times to grow garlic and it never did anything. You can do this too, whether you are in a small quarter-acre lot in the middle of a city or a subdivision, or even in an apartment with a little balcony. Put it in a pot, let it sit there. They're so easy, and there's just nothing like growing your own food. Thanks guys for being here. We'll catch you next time. Bye.